Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Choir Connection, our September 24th meeting. So this evening, Mark Shear and I will be leading this evening's event. So welcome from home if you're able to tune in and to watch us. And for those of you that chose to come out this evening, thank you for being live with us. We're going to be having a fun little evening with some singing, but we're really going to do some, I believe, some fun facts tonight, Mark, right?
Absolutely. It sounds like a lot of fun.
Yes. So we'd like to start tonight with a little bit of a prayer. So I think we all really feel the need, especially during this time, just to take this special moment. So if we can just bow our heads for a moment and just be in the present. And it's so peaceful and quiet in the building tonight. Really allow yourselves just to soak up that quiet, the peace. Find the inner peace that we so struggle with today. And just allow ourselves a moment of quiet time. Heavenly Father, thank you for being with us this evening and every day. In times when we turn away from you, you are so generous in heart and mind, and you always call us back to you. Especially in this trying time with COVID, the pandemic, things are not as we know. We struggle for a sense of normalcy. We thank you for being present tonight so that we can come together for those that are present here, a sense of normalcy, a sense of gathering, and for those at home, we hold you in our hearts as well. We thank you for joining us on this live stream. Heavenly Father, guide us, walk with us this evening, be in our hearts. We want to just soak you up this evening, and we hope that your peace and your harmony wash over us. Be with us, Lord. Be with us, Lord. To begin this evening, we do have a song that we'd like to sing. And it's going to be in your books number 817. And you might say, oh boy, here I'm getting into a little bit of a political. I am not. The song that I've chosen this morning is, it's a spiritual, began as a spiritual. It's called We Shall Overcome. I think all of us are old enough. Back in the 60s, was used quite a bit during a very difficult racial time in our country. And this evening, I did a little history on this song. Mark, do you really know when the song was written? We want to take a gander?
$1782.
Oh, well, that's pretty good. Anybody else have a date that you'd like to throw out when you think the song was written? Is it written right in there? It actually was written in 1900. Now they have different dates in there, but the original composer, it was based on a Negro spiritual, and but then it transformed, and it really, when we're using it today, as things kind of change, this song isn't really about protest. in today's day and age. It's not about marching, but the word that they use is that it's a sense of promise. It's a song of promise. And if we ever had a time when we really need a sense of promise, it's now. So we're going to join in singing verses 1 through 4 of We Shall Overcome. Really sink yourself into the words, allow them to wash over you. And I'm not, again, thinking political or racial and so forth, just a sense of promise and hope as we begin this evening with number 817. At home, please join us. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. 2. We walk hand in hand. We walk hand in hand. We walk hand in hand someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. 3. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. Let's finish with 4. We are not afraid. We are not afraid. We are not afraid today. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We also have a huge thank you for accompanist Catherine for being with us again. Our accompanists are so dear to us. In all of our choirs, they provide everything we need to be able to do our music week in and week out. And even though things look a little different, we're just going to have a fun evening with you tonight. So we're going to have a few laughs and try to learn a little bit about us. And it's kind of a meet and greet. What do you think about that, Mark?
Meet and greet.
Meet and greet.
Yes, I'd like to meet and greet you and know more about you.
Yes.
Caroline.
You too, Mark Shear. And even though Dan's not here, we're going to meet and greet, and we have some questions and some fun facts about him as well. You want to do a couple fun facts, and then we'll have you sing again.
Oh,
How
sure.
about that?
That sounds great.
Okay, why don't you lead off with a fun
All right,
fact?
I'll try one.
Okay.
How about this? True or false? I used to fix cars before I went to college to be an elementary teacher.
True,
Is it
raise your
or
hands.
false? Raise your hand if you think it's true.
False,
Well,
raise
we
your
got a
hands.
couple trues, couple falses.
Mary, you have a...
My
you
wife
have a
is here,
partial.
so yeah, she's gonna give it away. I did not fix cars before I became an elementary teacher. I actually fixed typewriters. I went to school, technical school in Fond du Lac for a year, full year through the summer months as well, and received a degree in office machine repair soon after I graduated from high school. And then I went on to work for Steed Office Equipment in Appleton and was a service representative there. And I fixed IBM Selectrics. Some of you might remember the IBM Selectric typewriters with the big ball of letters and a turn. And so I was an expert at that. I went to school and became an expert at that, and fixed those for about a year, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I've always worked with youth since I was too old to be a youth, and so I asked the Lord if I could get financial aid somehow, I would go to school to be a teacher. And He provided. I went to school, and little history passed since then.
You're all shaking your heads that you don't remember the typewriters. Catherine, do you even know what a typewriter is? In today's technology, she's probably the youngest one in the room, and she's probably like, what the heck is a typewriter? And what are you talking about, that rotating? That was like, really something. Okay, true or false? I was once known as the cat lady. True, raise your hands. False, raise your hands. Well, it's true. There was a day and a time when I think I actually had possibly 8 cats at one time. So I had, in my neighborhood, had a wonderful little feral cat who was very fertile. And she had the most beautiful litters of kittens, and I just kind of kept collecting them and raising them. So at one time, I think I had cats for many, many years, and kind of my own little entourage of them at one time. More than you probably needed to know, right? Mark, what's another question?
Another question. I taught elementary school students for 35 years.
True, raise your hands. At home,
Couple
you're doing this
truths.
too. False, raise your hands.
That's a little trick question. It's 36 years, actually, not 35. So I fooled you. Ha ha. I taught elementary school for 35 years back in 1980, and taught a 2-3 split my first year, and then 2nd grade, 3rd grade, many years, 4th grade, and then 5th grade my last 5 years, so 36 years total. But now I have retired as of 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So not planned because of all of this. I had that in mind and prayed that it would be an opportunity that I can have, and it came about. And I'm very, very happy that it's working out. I get to spend more time with my beautiful wife, grandchildren, and family, and just a lot of things to be thankful for.
Very nice. True or false? In high school, I held the title for a pageant for the state of Wisconsin. I held the state reigning title. True, raise your hands. Yeah, that's really not fair. False, raise your hands. It was not the Miss America pageant, but it was a notated pageant throughout the country. I actually went to Eau Claire for this competition, and I actually played Rachmaninoff on piano, and I was selected as the state title holder. And I was in lots of fun parades for that year, and I actually got to travel to Orlando for the national pageant. I believe I was 17 years old in high school. It was a lot of fun. And back then, if you knew my dad, who owned the auto body shop here in town, Westner Auto Repair, he was a big Mustang guy. So how fortunate for me that my own father owned a convertible, and so he would take me all around to all these parades and parade me around, I guess, as they say. I did not place in the national title, but it was a lot of fun, and it was a great experience for me. Because really in high school, and when I was younger, I was extremely shy. I know people don't really think that, but I was very, very shy, and this playing piano, I would have never gotten up and sang, not in a million years. But even though I was very involved in choir, but piano was very comfortable for me, and it was a really nice opportunity for me to really step out of my comfort. So, you want to sing a song?
Sure. Do you still have your sash?
I do not. I am not a saver.
Okay.
So
I thought I saw you wearing it the
unfortunately-
other day, but
Oh.
no? Okay.
Yeah, well, only in the privacy of my own home. But I am not a saver, so I think years ago, my good friend Sharon, her daughter Emily, became interested in pageants, and I gave her my crown and all of it, and she has competed in some local pageants, but I kind of passed them on. So I'm not a big saver, except in my memory. So
Very good. Well, we're going to move on to our next song. It's called You Are the Voice, 609, You Are the Voice. Along with this, just the title itself, we are called to share God's Word and be disciples for the Lord. And this song will speak to it, as well as in the verses too. What are we praising God for? What things can you think of that we can praise God for? And we'll find as well. So if you'll join us. 609, You Are the Voice. You are the voice of the living God, calling us now to live in your love, to be children of God once again. Praise for the light that shines through the night, from darkness to light, from death to new life, and praise to the morning that brings forth the sun, to open our eyes to the Lord, to open our eyes to the Lord. You are the voice of the living God, calling us now to live in your love, to be children of God once again. Verse 2. Praise for the water that springs from the seed that gives life to all who believes. God love overflowing, our hearts know the joy to be daughters and sons of the Lord, to be daughters and sons of the Lord. You are the voice of the living God, calling us now to live in your love, to be children of God once again. Verse 3. Praise for the singing and praise for the dance, with new heart and voice. I'll raise the song of praise to creation, all heaven and earth. Come sing of the glory of God. Come sing of the glory of God. You are the voice of the living God, calling us now to live in your love, to be children of God once again. Very nice. Thank you.
how about a Dan fact? Because Dan couldn't be with us
Yeah,
tonight.
let's hear a Dan
So why
fact.
don't I do a Dan fact? Okay, because we do have representation from the men's choir as well. And let me find a good one here.
They're all good.
Okay, here's one. Was Dan actually born in Canada? True, raise your hands. No
One by the-
takers, huh?
couple by the-
False, raise your hands. Okay. False is the correct answer. Dan was actually born in the UP of Michigan, and he graduated high school from Green Bay. So he was born in the UP, but moved to Green Bay. Okay, let's do another one for Dan real quick. True or false? Dan had the opportunity to sing at Carnegie Hall in New York City. If you think it's true, raise your hands. Oh, come on. All right, we got to go. Or false.
Nobody raised their hand.
Raise your hands. It is true. He traveled to New York City and performed a 90-minute concert with the choir for a live audience at Carnegie Hall. Pretty cool,
So
huh?
cool.
How about another fact from you, Mark? What would you like to share?
All right. I sing for strangers at restaurants.
True, raise your hands. False, raise your hands.
Well, it's true. Does that surprise anybody?
No, not
it
really.
doesn't surprise if you know me. A real quick story. We were in Medford, my wife and I, and we were going out to dinner with my mother-in-law, and we overheard a waitress asking an elderly lady at a table far a little distant from us if she had her birthday certificate or birthday coupon with her. So I heard that it was her birthday. And so I got up and went over and I said, I overheard it's your birthday. Would you like me to sing a birthday song that I teach my students at school? And then we go and sing it to other teachers on their birthday. She goes, I would love that. And so I sang my birthday song to her and invited her over to join us for dinner. And now she's one of my mother-in-law's best friends. So it was just a neat story.
Who would like, if you'd like to hear this special birthday song, please raise your hand. And we should
True
have
or
every
false?
hand
Will
up.
I sing that birthday song?
It's adorable. He's saying it for the youth kids. Sing it, Mark.
Sure. Today is the birthday, I wonder of whom. I know it's for somebody right in this room. So look all around you for somebody who is smiling and happy. My goodness, it's you. Happy birthday from all of us to you. Happy birthday, may all of your skies be blue. We congratulate you and pray good luck follows too. Happy birthday, may all of your wishes come true.
Yay!
Thank you. All right.
True
turn.
or false? Back to me here. Let me find a good one here. Before working for church, I worked many years ago for a cosmetic company and traveled throughout the state of Wisconsin. True? Raise your hands. I must look terrible. False, raise your hands. In college, I worked part-time and went to school part-time, and then I worked behind the Estee Lauder cosmetic counter at Prangies. For those of you that remember Prangies, our Wisconsin-based retail store. And then in college, I was working there part-time, and then I took a sabbatical from college before completing my degree, and I was hired full-time by the company, and I was called an account coordinator, and I traveled to something like 12 or 14 of the Prangy stores in Wisconsin. A lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and I had a wonderful, there were about 28 stores at that time. In the other half of the stores, I worked with a wonderful lady by the name of Mary Dupre, and we would always share hotel rooms as we were traveling and doing events. But yes, I worked for a very renowned cosmetic company many, many years ago.
Estee Lauder.
Fun job, and then I have a funner job now. So, yes. What about you, Mark? Another fun fact.
I had 96 stitches in my forehead when I was 16 years old. True or false?
True, raise your hands. False, raise your hands. No. If you answer one way or another out there. Okay, here we go.
Well, the sad truth is I did have 96 stitches in my forehead. When I was younger, I would go to the city pool in Fond du Lac, and I would dive off the high dive. I wasn't afraid to do that. So later, like 15, 16 or whatever, my parents purchased a miniature golf course in a field out of town and brought it to the KOA campgrounds about 7 miles south of Fond du Lac and fixed it all up, and we ran it as Shears Goofy Golf at the KOA campgrounds. Well, there was a man-made lake there, and my brother and his friend and my sister and I, we were running the Goofy Golf course and closed up around 9 o'clock in the evening and ran down the road to the man-made lake. And my brother and his friend, they jumped in the pool, whipped off their shirts and jumped in and belly flop. I took off my shirt and I just ran and I naturally dove. So instead of jumping and belly flopping, I jumped and landed in 2 feet of water and hit sandy bottom. Now, I know, when I tell that story, everyone always says, you're lucky you didn't break your neck, you're paralyzed. I know that, and the Lord was with me, and He has a much better purpose for me. So I am here to speak on that. I will continue to praise. Yeah, you can if you can look closer sometime, you can see the pretty big scar on my forehead. 96 stitches later and a little handful of sand, and I was not kept overnight. I was released that day and that evening and went home, and my mother watched, so my eyes were dilating and all that. And I just have a little correction in my left eye, but other than that, I blame my long-term memory on that, but my wife thinks it's, she doesn't believe that. You can't use that excuse anymore.
I think we call that selective memory.
But I'm so thankful that I'm okay.
Well, on the flip side of that, I've been in the hospital 3 times in my life. True? False? I have never been in the hospital, except for when I was born. So I'm kind of a little deathly afraid of hospitals because I have such little exposure to them. But the worst that I ever had was washing a glass, and the glass broke. And I have a scar on my hand where the glass cut, and I had to go and just get a few stitches, but I never had to stay in the hospital. So I'm very fortunate as well.
Very fortunate. Yeah.
Very, very fortunate. How about one for Dan?
Yes.
Okay, let's do one for Dan. Dan is a nationally certified hockey coach. True? False? Ooh, it's true. Dan has been skating as long as he could walk, and he played hockey since age 5. And his first class of kids that he ever coached are now sophomores in college. Isn't that crazy? But yeah, Dan is all the years that he's been mentoring with the adult choir or even ongoing up, he's always coached these kids' hockey teams, and he's really avid about it. So it's a real passion of his. How about you, Mark? One more.
Okay. I ran and completed 3 full marathons, which is 26.2 miles, and 17 half marathons, 13.1 miles, after the age of 50.
True, raise your hands. False, raise your hands.
That is true. I did. I started running when I was around 49 years old, and then I ran my first. I just felt like I was getting out of shape, and I wanted to be around long enough for my children, to be with their weddings and so on and celebrate their milestones. And so I just started running. So I ran around the block, and I was so tired, I went home and sat down, and I kept at it. And 2 blocks, 3 blocks, 3 miles, 5 miles, and then I really had the itch. I had the running itch. It's almost like an addiction. I could not stop. I really wanted to. And so I just started running more and more, reading up, researching, finding out more about the best way to do it. I joined Pace Setters, and so we met every Saturday in Appleton. Started running the Fox City Marathon course, 5 miles, 8 miles, and we just ran about 20 miles, 20-mile course before I ran my first 26.2 marathon. And then I ran 2 after that, and some 17 marathons and so on. I don't run anymore. Doctor said I shouldn't do that. And, well, I went into the doctor's office one time, and I said, I told the doctor, it really hurts when I do this. He told me?
Don't do it.
That's old. No, I wish I could run, but I do walk.
Well, we know we all have amazing stories. Is there any thing special or anything amazing in which we all have amazing things in our lives, but anything you'd like to share, you can call it out and I will relay it.
Yeah, something that we wouldn't typically know about.
Yeah,
maybe.
something that you have that we don't know, that you'd be willing to share.
Kathy, you got to have something.
Can you take your mask off so I can hear? Oh, nobody's going to put anything out of the closet. Okay. We know that everybody has amazing things. Oh, Kathy has something. Okay, here's a question from Kathy in the choir.
When I, in 1979, I graduated high school, but up to that point I had really weak ankles. They would tip all the time and be very painful. And I was supposed to go in the Army in August, but July, prior to that, I had this chance to go to Christian Outdoor Leadership School in Colorado for 3 weeks. And at the end of the first week, we had to run, we first had to go through an obstacle course. At the last day, we had to run 10 miles. And, well, as I'm going through the obstacle course, I'm flying through. They get near the last obstacle. It's one of these bridges that has 2 ropes and then one on the bottom. Those ropes that hold it up. I'm scurrying across it, and when the rope's untied, and it just dropped right through it. About a 20-foot drop to the bottom of this tiny little ravine, right next to the big cabins. Jumped up, and the guy says, "Are you okay?" I says, "Can I still finish?" So I went up, finished it, landed, finished, got done, pulled a huge thorn out of the side of my foot. And I go, "Oh my gosh, my ankles swelled right up." And he says, "Well, all you can do is really put it in the creek, because it's real ice cold water." So I did that. What am I going to do? And so we had to run 10 miles, and I was really worried, because if you don't do it within a certain period of time, you're kicked out. So I'm trucking along, and one of the counselors is running with me, and he says, running circles around me, going backwards. I'm just trudging along, and he starts talking about face healing. And he says, as he's going about talking about what he's experienced, all of a sudden he stops in the middle of the road, he looks at me, he goes, "You're not going to have any problems anymore." And he turns around and just takes off. All right. And to this day, I've never had problems with my ankles.
Kathy was sharing with us from choir that she has an ankle angel that she experienced, and I know that at home you might not have been able to hear all of that. But I think if we really all look into our lives, there's probably been a moment where we might have experienced something, because there are angels all around us. And it was a miracle that Kathy had problems with her ankles, and while she's on this 10-mile, pretty treacherous run to receive admittance, is it into the Army? No, this was through a summer class to complete this. Someone just told her, "You will not have any more problems." She's been okay. So sometimes we see miracles in a 2-foot pond or lake and all around us. So we have to believe that in this time that we live in today, that let's not get caught up in all of the rhetoric of TV and politics and what's going on and how bad it is, because there are wonderful, beautiful miracles happening all around us every day. Want to say anything else to that? Okay. So tonight what we'll do is we're going to be closing with a special song, and we just wanted to have some fun with some of those fun facts. But if you're not aware, earlier today we had exposition of the Blessed Eucharist, and we were asked today on this National Day of Prayer that people were asked to not only pray, to fast, and this is for God's mercy on our land and the healing and the conversion of our hearts. So this is not about anything political. It's not anything about national, other than we really need to just dig deep and to thank God for all the many gifts we have, for our wonderful country that we do live in, and we can be the catalyst of change. The only way change is going to come in this world is that we are the change that we see in the world. So the closing song that I chose tonight, and just one more fact about this day, this day of prayer was actually a proclamation by President Abraham Lincoln. So it's been around. It was during the Civil War that he set this day aside for our nation. And if we ever really needed prayer, I think that we would all say, true, today, in today's world, is a day when we need prayer, and we need tranquility and peace of mind and heart. Not only for our bodies, but for our spiritual selves, we need to be fed. So just by coming tonight or joining us online, you are feeding that spiritual soul. And we thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate Catherine for taking time out of her day to provide keyboard for us. I thank all of you in the pews for coming and spending this little reconnection time that we're all so craving. Dan, you can't be with us tonight, but I thank you if you're watching from home, all our viewers from home, and I thank Mark for stepping in tonight and sharing some fun facts as well. So as we close tonight, let's open our books to number 984. And again, this is not a political anything, but I think our country on this day of prayer needs this song. And this is America the Beautiful, because we do live in a wonderful, wonderful country. And we will be singing verses 1, 2, and 4 this evening. If you know harmonies, please join in. And we just want to thank God for bringing us together this night, that we were all able to make this journey, that we hopefully through tonight's little event, we feel connection with each other, we feel God's loving arms around us, and through our voices, we can make a statement. Remember, whatever you say stays in the world forever, so let's choose our words carefully. America the Beautiful.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesty, above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crowned thy good with motherhood, from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for pilgrim feet, who stay in passion's trance, a thoroughfare for freedom beat across the wilderness. America, America, God shed Diego. Verse 4. Oh, beautiful for patriot dreams that sees beyond the years. Thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Thank you for joining us on this National Day of Prayer. I do have one more thank you, and that is to our booth representative who is making this possible for our live streaming. So Ron, I want to thank you back in the booth. Thank you for being with us. Next week, we have a very special presentation. It'll be a little bit different, but since Sister Mary Jo is such a special part of our music ministry in countless ways as a keyboardist in the adult choir, and she works with many small groups as well, she is celebrating her 60th Jubilee this year. Unbelievable. And I'm sure that has been an unbelievable journey for you, Sister Mary Jo. And she is going to share with us next week a presentation on her time as a New Genesis sister, give us a little background. She's been diligently putting together a little talk for us. And how wonderful to be able to share that beautiful opportunity of a Jubilee year. So I hope you all come back next week or tune in for this wonderful presentation that we will have for you. Be safe, be well. Thank you, Mr. Shear, for being with us. Thank you, Catherine, Ron, and all of you. Have a great evening.
God bless you all.
Good night.